look at us. Look at us. We're here in a little bit of a different order here. I'm used to being at the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now I'm here in the top left corner for some reason. But
you're worthy of it.
Worthy of the top left corner. Okay. So we'll start with the easy bit here to introduce ourselves. In the top left, I am Mikie Cool. Top right is
Darnel.
And at the bottom,
Sarah. Hey.
And we are Nerds in the Dark. So thank you for watching, and we're gonna jump into a pretty interesting topic here. No surprise to any of you guys watching the video if you're listening to this audio later. The title of the discussion is Bad Heroes, Flawed Male Superheroes and Their Portrayal in Media. So Sarah, this was your topic. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to talk about today?
So this all spawned from, of course, our group chat, where I went on a little bit of a tirade in regards to why Batman was the worst superhero of all time, and fully expected everyone to disagree with me. But I have Darnel's support, and I kind of wanted to open it up and talk about other problematic superheroes and just portrayal of bad superheroes in comics, TV, and just expand on that.
All right, awesome. In the chat, STI noticed that Darnell's got some lights on. So we do.
Oh, 100. I got a light on.
We got this man a little bit of light. We paid ComEd. So he's set up now.
Always something with you.
No, we're being nice. We're being nice today. Today is a day where we're going to be nice to each other and not be mean. I've never been mean ever in my life. I get along with so many streamers. All right,
Can't even say it with a straight face.
I can't say it with a straight face. So, this STI says he's an ass. That's fine. I kind of am too, if I'm being honest. For the first time in my life, being honest. So, what are some common tropes that we see in flawed behavior from some male heroes?
You, Sarah.
Oh, I was going to have you start on this one.
Okay.
You had the more hot takes on this.
Oh, so one of the biggest flaws that we normally see is going to be like flaws in strength of character. We always have a lot of heroes that have drinking problems, or they have a history of violence at home, or things that they have to overcome. Batman's got trauma. Iron Man's a drunk. Star-Lord is Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for all these kind words, STI. Pointing out Sarah's nice glasses, and he's loving my lumberjack beard. Thank you. I'm out here trying to be the brawny man that I want to be. I want to be the brawny man that will pick me up. Oh man, Gigantor, thank you for using our emote. We also we just uploaded a new one here. I'd call this one, if you guys are sub, I call this one Angry Mikie Noises.
Guys, we're already so off track right now.
I know. We're definitely
bring it back.
We interact with the chat. Now, we have characters with a lot of flaws, and one of the biggest one that I love to talk about is women in fridges. And Darnell also really loves women in fridges topic.
Motherfucker ain't shit.
So this goes back to an argument made by a pretty big comic book writer right now named Gail Simone. And Gail Simone posited a few years ago that there was a trope where male characters only achieved growth or plot development happen as a result of female violence or violence against women, I should say. And one of the examples of that, which coined the term women in fridges, was in the 90s. In the 90s / early 2000s, there was a new Green Lantern named Kyle Rayner who went to space, learned all this stuff from being in the Lantern Corps, came back from space to discover his girlfriend dead and dismembered in a fridge. And so that's where we have the term. Now, they use a lot of examples. There's actually a whole compiled list of violent acts that have been committed against women to further the plot of male characters. A big example of that as well would be Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, being paralyzed by Joker in The Killing Joke as a way to get at Commissioner Gordon and Batman. And you know, the list can go on and on and on. So as STI says, most men feel they have the role to protect the female around them. And it's definitely something that you can use as a plot device, is having the man be a protector. But one of the tropes that exists today is that the woman doesn't actually have to be the victim. Like he can protect them without them dying or being dismembered, you know, or traumatized in any other way. Like, you don't have to victimize them to protect them. You know, think of like your average Saturday morning cartoon where, you know, there's constantly violence that happens. Hello, Forgotten Traveler. Thank you for joining us today. Think of your Saturday morning cartoons. You have any number of situations where you have someone in peril. You will have like someone in distress that needs saving, but they don't hurt and dismember them every day.
Yeah. I'll also add the fucking dumbass fact that they think intentions override impact. Like,
you stole my line. You stole my line.
So Sarah, since that's your line, let's go into what that means.
Well, you go indefinitely now since I stole it.
Ooh, okay. So, this comes from a conversation that happened, I think it was either yesterday or the night before. We were arguing over apologies, and a lot of people nowadays use the term, you know what, I apologize, it was not my intent. And then they leave it at that. I don't think that's a true apology. I think impact matters. It doesn't really matter what your intent was, it was the impact of your actions. So thank you for agreeing with me before not agreeing with me yesterday.
Wow. The shades flying today, huh? I thought we were being nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's you know, I'm gonna say nothing. But let's move on a little bit from this topic, and let's get into one of the meatier subjects. Is
Meteor?
Meteor?
Nice segue, Darnel. Let's go into some of the heroes that we'd like to talk about with specific examples. Now, Darnell's got his own list, and at the top of them is who?
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man. 1993 classic. First black superhero, right? On screen.
Yeah. Hey. Alright, so like, my thing with him is that granted, like in the beginning of the movie, you see that he's a non-violent person, he gets superpowers, and then he immediately starts fucking trying to beat up fucking crack dealers. But he's also a teacher and like, obviously like, super educated. So he would know like, hey, low-level motherfuckers ain't shit. You should just go fucking, hey, just take the fucking all the drugs just out instead of just beating the shit out of like some fucking random thugs in the street. And because he just chooses to go beat up the fucking thugs, like he ends up having his entire fucking block shot up because instead of like, hey, let me get the fucking actual putting real thought into my fucking actions, I'm gonna do some simple ass shit and have like all these people who don't have powers get fucking shot.
So I can agree that there was a definite lack of planning when it comes to how he handled being a superhero. Although there was actually things that were going on there that I think like in other ways makes that character more flawed. First of all, shout out to SCI. He says it was all about that movie when he was a kid, and I rewatched that movie again, and I completely forgot that the Baby Lords were a thing. And so when I rewatched Baby that, Lords? Yeah, I was dying. So back on track with this, one of the things that I wanted to say was that there's a lot of troublesome behavior that he exhibits that goes beyond, I think, lacking a plan. Because the neighborhood starts to plan without him, and his first initiative, very similar to Spider-Man, is he's just like, I enjoy these powers, but I don't want to use them, and I don't want to get involved,
Yeah.
And it's not until somebody is hurt because he failed that he actually decides to really want to get involved. But one of the things that I notice is particularly troublesome, and maybe you can argue that it's like a movie that doesn't hold up in the same way, but the first thing that he does when he gets his powers, when he starts to really realize that he has powers, he realizes that he can see through people's clothes, and rather than sit on that idea, the first thing he does is press the button for the cute nurse to walk back in. Which is troublesome.
Yeah.
He gets the powers, and his first thought is, I can use this for something, and not like what he can do it for, or what he can do with them to better his community. So he is definitely troublesome. But one thing I was talking to you about earlier was that I actually really enjoyed. There's a scene that's in that movie that shows the better parts of Jefferson Reed.
Yes.
Just unprompted, no push from the community, no danger in the area. What he does is he walks to an abandoned lot that's covered with trash and debris, and just overnight cleans it up because he has the strength to, plants seeds. He farms the whole area, and overnight grows a gigantic crop that'll feed the entire neighborhood. And it's not treated as like a super important scene, but I think it was something that goes into, him actually caring about the community. It's not just what can we do, to stop the gangs. He was like, this is beyond gangs. This is just helping people.
Yeah, that was like legit. Like what, like outside of him being a pervert or like not thinking about his actions, that was like a solid good act that I don't see in a lot of shit, or where like their only portrayal of good act is they beat somebody the fuck up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, take away the need to beat somebody the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Also, how do you feel about Baby Don Cheadle being in there? Like, I completely forgot he was in that movie.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, he went from like villain to good guy, so.
Yeah. But Don Cheadle is a good segue for one of the people I want to talk about. Iron Man. Iron Man's a terrible hero. Did you want to talk about Iron Man? Like, are you just...
No. I want to know your take on this, because I disagree with you to an extent. So I want to hear your take on it.
So Iron Man's a terrible hero to me, and one of the reasons why is because he's very reactive. And this can change based on where, which media you follow him in, because in some, in comics he's too proactive, right? you know, doing the initiative and doing everything he did in the comics, starting a civil war, you know, that's,
I mean, fair.
yeah, that's very, like, a little too proactive. And then, you know, he's a little too proactive. Well, it's a mix of proactive and reactive in the movies when he creates Ultron, you know. And then you also have that he is just a drunk. He does overcome that, right? But we're talking about flawed heroes, and this is a flaw that he has that he does have to overcome.
It's
But
almost like you
it-
need to have a trauma in order to be a hero
Exactly.
nowadays.
Exactly. And there are heroes that exist that don't necessarily have trauma. You know, that they don't have to have trauma. Like, you know, take a very good example would be Miles Morales. Like, Miles Morales does have trauma, but didn't need the trauma to be the hero. He was doing the job. He was doing the job before the trauma.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, Iron Man very much, like, when you get to later series, he does, you know, strip some of the stuff, but he was very much a guy who, you know, he wanted to live in the limelight. He partied really hard. He's playboy philanthropist billionaire, right? Like, he lives that lifestyle. Iron Man is every day what Bruce Wayne pretends to be. Right? And
A little bit.
and even though that I know that, you know, later we're going to touch on some things that are not great about some of those characters. That idea of who Bruce Wayne is, that is not a thing to aspire to be, and that's what Tony Stark is every day. And then he just puts on a suit and is just like, I'm gonna fight evil warlords in other countries, you know. So I don't know if that necessarily, like, makes him good, you know. And you think about some of the other things that he did before becoming, like, you know, a bureaucrat, you know, slave, right? What did he do? He flew into other countries where there were conflicts to interfere. Didn't matter whose side, right? Like, he was just like, oh, here's people committing violence. Like, what does that unrest do? You know, there's a lot of, like, irresponsibility that goes into that. But that's a small take on Iron Man. You said you disagree, though.
Only because I'm coming from one media side. Like, I'm solely coming from movies, and I have read some of the comics, like the old ones, like going back to the 70s ones, because that's what my dad grew up on. And yeah, you know, I can agree with you now that I think about it, that he is very reactive, and I don't know, I think I just have this just deep hatred of Batman overshadowing any other bad superhero that nobody else can, like, do as wrong as Batman.
Let's say it's the dirty Batman.
So do you want to use that to segue into talking about Batman?
I mean, we could. I want to hold off for a minute, though,
Okay.
because I think we've skipped over speaking about some more flaws and tropes in superheroes in today's media. And I know that you guys have both watched The Boys.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a perfect segue to talk about that.
Okay.
So, and talk.
Okay.
I thought you had. I thought you had something to say about The Boys.
I haven't seen it, so I know you guys have talked about it, and it came up as this is a great topic to talk about.
Okay, so
All right.
The Boys represent a perversion of what we envision normal superheroes to be. You know, Homelander is a perversion of both Captain America and Superman.
Okay.
Hold on a second here. Somebody's in the chat says, wow, it's Pop-Tart says Homelander. STI says, if you attack the heart, you can make a change. Faster trauma multiplies that emotion. What is the drive without the purpose? I definitely get that. I think that there's some heroes that can have trauma and can overcome that trauma in different ways. You know, Spider-Man is somebody who had trauma, and that trauma drives his entire character. But there are other ones that don't necessarily have that same trauma. You know, Rhodey's a superhero just because he thought it was cool. He just liked.
Rhodey's a military man. Oh, that's from me.
Yeah. And then who else? OG Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel now. She has trauma, but you know, she just ended up with the powers, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this." You know, most of the X-Men, you know, they have the power, so they're doing it. They have that choice. Like a lot of the mutants have the choice whether or not they can, you know, join the ranks or not. You know, trauma doesn't have to be a part of it to drive them.
I mean, I feel like it goes into two categories. Like you have that trauma and you go vigilante because of that trauma, or you go towards the I'm actually going to strive to make a change because of this trauma.
Yeah. And, you know, again, it goes into like, you know, what can drive these characters without necessarily needing to resort to trauma, right? So if you look at for example, Deadpool, right? In the first Deadpool movie, he's driven by revenge, but it's not because of the trauma. He's just like, yeah, I just want to kill these guys. He was a killer beforehand, right? So he was like, I'm gonna just get revenge on these guys, and that's fine. And he just found out he was invincible. And most of the time, he's driven to do things in ways that he thinks is funny.
Yeah.
Right. So like, he doesn't really like, you know, he's very mentally unhealthy, but he doesn't thrive on trauma. And if you look at that and contrast it against Deadpool 2, the driving force there is the trauma, and circles right back around to women in fridges, because the driving force in the narrative is his girlfriend getting murdered. So if we wanted to switch gears back to go over The Boys, what were you gonna say on The Boys, Darnel?
So about them being trash. That's like the whole thing is that like they're supposed to be shitty fucking hero, and I probably won't talk to you. Try not to go too in deep to the fucking show if somebody has seen it. But like in the comics, like you see all the like their whole thing is like, you know, like fucking heroes are sponsored, and like they're pretty much just like shitty fucking celebrities who just can like have supernatural abilities. Yeah. And so they're always doing fucking shady fucking shit. Yeah. And all the shit that, like, even like them having backstories of being like traumatized is always like, I think for almost all of them, it's fucking fake. So like, because they know like it fucking gets people the average person to fucking support them. And so it's like, I like The Boys for that reason. It's like they make fun of all the shit that like is wrong with mainstream shit.
Yep. And I think that another thing that's important to look at too is that, you know, we don't just examine the superheroes in The Boys. We should also examine the boys, and that they are largely driven by trauma themselves, with the exception of Huey. Now, Huey specifically went through trauma at the very beginning, but the trauma doesn't drive him. And I think that you can look at that as a nice way to contrast how Huey reacts to situations versus how Butch reacts to situations, because they both react to things very differently, and the reason that both of them joined initially is the same, but how they go about things and how they treat everything is vastly different. Huey is driven to move on and make things right, while Butch is driven by revenge. Nothing else matters except for getting Homelander.
Yeah.
So
I also like the boys' fact that it's more realistic, because not everybody who has powers is going to be a good person, and like it touched which goes back to like them having flaws. Like they're just like they just do what a normal person would do. It's like they got drunk and it's like, oh, you're gonna pay me to pretend to do some other shit? Cool. Like not everybody's a fucking a doctor or a fucking web cop, a firefighter joined it because for no reason. It's like it's a paycheck, man. It's a paycheck.
Now, were there any other tropes we wanted to go over before diving into some more heroes we were going to drag?
I mean, I think we've covered most of them.
I mean,
unless you guys have another one.
So, there's the general ones that we see. There's the dead parents. It's dead parents or dead mom. It's dead girlfriend. It's drunk. It's mental illness. It's different things like that. And if you start going through DC, it gets pretty bad with that. Batman's got the dead parents. Flash has got the dead mom. Superman's got the dead planet. And you contrast against some of the other ones, like obviously Supergirl has a dead planet, right? But that's different. But Wonder Woman doesn't have that history of Themyscira being completely wiped out. Power Girl is literally Supergirl, so we don't count that. But look at other heroes, and they don't necessarily exist with trauma when in the same way that their male counterparts do.
I mean, one of if we want to take a positive spin on this, one of the most not I wouldn't say underutilized, but what's the word I'm looking for? One of the more not well-known superheroes, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Yes.
9-year-old black girl who is the smartest person in the Marvel universe. Number one, great role model for girls growing up. And number two, teaches science and how to be a badass without needing trauma.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
I know my comics.
Yes.
There's a lot of really smart heroes that don't really have to deal with any of that bullshit, and it's something that's unfortunately super underutilized, and they do the same thing as well with other characters, particularly when they're smart, they're underutilized. Like Amadeus Cho gets very little time in comics. Hank Pym gets a lot more than he deserves, especially because he's super flawed. And look at things of look at the amount of time dedicated to the amount of comics that Hulk has, and look at the amount of comics She-Hulk has. And She-Hulk doesn't have the same issues, or at least previously didn't. Where she's just I'm completely out of control when I go green. She's I'm good. I don't have anger issues. Up until recently, that is.
Yeah. Recently they gave her some anger management problems.
Well, they'll do that when they kill her family.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there we go with trauma driving character. You know, why does it do that? Now, are we ready to talk about your mans?
Are we gonna drag Batman now?
Yeah, let's do that.
I have a few more, but yeah, I want to drag Batman first.
Do you want to team up and drag Batman?
Yes, you first though. You get the floor first.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so Batman is the worst. I hate Batman. And where do we even start with this one? So number one, you set someone up with, again, reoccurring theme, trauma. Dead parents, and now needs to be a vigilante because of it, and pretty much wants to burn down the world because he's the only person in the world with dead parents. God forbid. He consistently gets everyone in the Justice League killed. He only has money to use for gadgets. He's not even a real superhero. He just has a lot of fucking money that he doesn't know what to do with, and he's irresponsible with it. What else? He also has his one rule, not to kill anybody, yet he breaks that several times. They also portray him as a billionaire who has the power to save as a reason to even have billionaires in the world. Like,
yeah,
let's talk about that. I get heated on this one, but those are my top ones why Batman is useless.
You know what? It's
I the comments I am going in.
It's the beating up petty criminals for me. Like
yes,
like
the pettiness.
Yes,
pettiness.
Just imagine going to buy some weed and Batman breaks your arm. Like, are you kidding me? He's the only one. He's the only one out there being like, are you chewing from high school?
Like, you got, like,
that's a crime.
Yeah, bitch, so I don't gotta sell dope. Like,
oh man, God. Batman fun to stop and frisk. That's all I'm saying. Man.
Parallel to corrupt police and Batman.
Yeah, and think about like what he's done. So there's a lot to be said about like somebody who thinks that they're like above the law, right? Because it's not that he was specifically like he has powers and looks at it like he has a responsibility, because he does believe he has a responsibility, but he only believes he has a responsibility because no one else can do the job. SCI says, yo, my leg is broken over a roach. Really?
It's a good comment.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like Batman / Bruce Wayne has said multiple times that he would leave Gotham alone if he believed Gotham could take care of itself. So he believes that he's above everyone else in Gotham. Like, he just can't put anyone else in there. He believes Gordon's a good cop, and he let Gordon be commissioner to run shit, right? But he can't, he can't just leave him to run shit because apparently he can't get good people in his department. So it's like, what, you trust nobody? All the cops are bad. Gordon can't put good cops on the force? I don't understand. He's the commissioner. You know? And it's just like,
yeah.
Like, why are you like, and then he has this rule of like no killing, right? Which is, it is what it is, but at the same time he's dealing with mentally mentally ill people that he's constantly fighting and throwing into mental institutions. They get out, right? But he has the rule about no killing. In the meantime, he's beating up a mentally ill clown every day. And like, I don't even know. I go in on Batman a lot because it's like, oh, he's like master fighter. He can beat everybody with prep time, but a fucking man in a purple suit with a crowbar gives him the fucking business every day? No, that's bullshit. how is
Yeah.
a clown prince of crime giving Batman the business every day, and he's supposed to be a fucking ninja? How does that happen? Like, Batman's the worst.
Having
Oh,
a
yeah.
plan doesn't make you a good superhero. And plus, his plan never fucking works. And for a billionaire, I mean, at least build a facility that holds the psycho clown. Like,
Yeah.
for real.
That's my thing. I'm gonna talk about the movies. Christian Bale and Affleck. Bale, fucking his Batman knew that like they had defunded a whole bunch of fucking programs, or didn't know that they defunded a bunch of programs. It's like, you care so much about the fucking city, supposedly. Yeah, you don't do shit for the fucking, like, you didn't know all these funds that are supposed to help fucking people weren't fucking being paid anymore. Like, how are you gonna fucking say, tell all of us lies saying you care about motherfuckers, but like you not fucking helping motherfuckers in the streets?
And
like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's like, why are these things funded? It's like, well, you fucking stopped you stopped your fucking business from making money, which means these motherfuckers don't get paid. Like, did you not think about the consequences of your fucking actions because you have a fucking, like, somebody might turn your fucking power cell into a fucking bomb? Cool, now people are fucking starving. Like,
following up on the chat here, STI says all that money and can't give the police upgrades. Come on. Gigantor says Batman should be considered a vigilante, not a superhero, because he has no powers. SCI says I just think he doesn't like clowns / he's scared of them. Just saying. Like, and the thing is that, like, Batman.
There's a way to get boomers into trickle-down economics.
Oh my god, that was a funny. So here's another thing that I don't like about Batman. He specifically puts other people in danger on a regular basis.
Yeah.
How many Robins have there been? How many?
I know. I thought there was
God.
only 4, but apparently there's like close to 8 or 9 now.
Yeah. So 4 male Robins, right? And then other Robin stand-ins also exist, right? So those are out there. But you know, you have the official people that he adopted, right? Then you have like Batgirl, you have Batwoman, you have other people that he just allows to be in danger, right? He can't trust the city to run itself, but he can purposely put other people in suits and let them like run around the city to dole out the same vigilante justice that he himself believes in. It's trash.
Yeah.
Sorry, the comments.
Robins are on sale. Buy them in
Robins
bulk.
are on sale.
Oh my god, that's great.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
When he gets pissed off at those dudes who dress up as him, and he's like, well, what's news to me and you? And it's like, I don't wear hockey pads. Like, so your thing is I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like,
cool.
I'm not wearing hockey pads. But it's just like, okay, I'm sorry that they couldn't fucking invest in a polymer fucking Kevlar suit that deflects bullets. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not all of us have money for a fucking tank. But here I am with my fucking shotgun and a baseball bat, like, hey, I'm gonna fucking beat some fucking crackhead. Some crack dealers out to protect my neighborhood, but I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm doing the same thing, motherfucker. Like, hey, you can at least give me a fucking lawyer. Put some funds on my fucking books. But no. Apparently I'm no different than the fucking dude who's drugging up people, making him hallucinate seeing fucking evil scarecrows.
Yeah. Fucking Batman. And his terrible rogues gallery too. Like, how are these people like how do these people even exist as like villains? And also, like, how do they like, Joker's a clown. Like, literally a clown. And he's just like, yeah, no, I run the city, and all the other real villains are afraid of me. Why? Because you don't know if you're gonna like kill them or not. Any other villain could just be like, okay, like, I can't trust you, so, and that's it. Like, if we're being realistic about it.
Yeah. The other one, Ben Affleck's fucking Batman. His fucking need to fucking kill Superman because, like, oh, without a fucking doubt, Like, if there's any fucking chance of this motherfucker being turning bad, we need to fucking find out and kill him. But ever heard of a fucking conversation? Like, right? One, he's like essentially a fucking god, and your fucking first instinct is like, well, he might turn bad, so I'm just gonna fucking kill him.
Assumptions.
And it's like his whole, and it's like, ain't your whole thing like, hey, I'm gonna have a fucking plan. Like, let me get some fucking proof that you're gonna fucking try to kill me. Like, granted, Superman caused a whole bunch of damage. He's a dumbass, don't know where to fucking fight. Fucking pussy. But like, Batman saw that and was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Now,
I was like, oh, this motherfucker is like, hey, you know what? He is trying to save the planet, even though he's fucking careless with his fucking actions. But you know what? You know what I'm gonna fucking do? I'm gonna go kill that guy because he broke one of my fucking buildings that I can just fucking pay for. It's like, oh no, somebody got their legs broken. Like, bitch.
You know what really bothers me about Affleck Batman is that just complete disregard for Batman rules, right? Just breaking legs, breaking bones, right? And then when he's chasing Superman, whatever, right, or he's like on his way to do other stuff, he's just blowing up things with people in them.
Oh yeah, like when he's trapped in the kryptonite, and he just like, yeah, I'm just gonna blow up everything on the fucking block. Like, there was people in those vehicles.
Yeah.
Like, at least in fucking Christian Bale's Batman, when he blew up cars, it was just like some random parking lot. So yeah, cool, you went to the movies and came outside your car that was right. Like, I'm mad, but like, sucks. It was like, whole other thing, like, imagine you just going to fucking work and like, now, oh, well, son of a bitch, I'm dead because this motherfucker just had auto lock on and just killed everybody. I'm like, I actually work on the docks. I'm not trying to steal shit. I just work here.
Here's the other thing too. Like, it also bothers me, like, both Christian Bale and Affleck Batman are the type of people that are just like breaking legs and like, swear to me. I can't stand it because like they're out there and they'll like they'll throw you on the floor, beat your ass up, and then just be like, now talk.
Like, well, you know, like that's flawed interrogation tactics. You gotta cause pain for someone, like, make sure you're serious. Like, I'm pretty sure some motherfucker walked up on me in a fucking cape, driving a fucking tank. But I'm like, you know what? Whatever the fuck you need to know, if I know it, you know it. Because you get a tank, bitch.
Yo.
Like, if the tank ain't doing the fucking job, I don't like them. I don't know what the fuck person.
Batman's the only person who will knock all your teeth out and then be like, now whistle. It's like,
I mean, you're not wrong.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But you got any other drags against Batman?
I think we covered them all. I mean, I could drag him all day, every day, but I think we've got the main ones out of the way.
I said my two. So
I know.
All right, Darnell, who else are you planning to drag today?
Luther Hargreaves from Umbrella Academy.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm for this.
Because granted, like, the entire family's fucked up. We got Diego, who thinks he needs to fucking save every fucking body because he needs to prove he's a fucking assassin and not a failure to his dad. You got Five, who's just an old man trapped in a child's body who's just a cunt. And then you got fucking the other guy who sees dead people. But like, Luther, the one who like is like, yeah, cool, I'm going to be the fucking hero who ends up setting off the fucking apocalypse, all because he decided to fucking lie to everybody else and try to fucking kill whatchamacallit girl. And it's like, if you had just stayed to the fucking plan instead of like, you know what? Nah, I know better than you motherfuckers. I'm gonna fucking choke this bitch out. And then next you're like, oh, hey, cool, guess what? Why is she so angry? Because you tried to kill her and like you can't grasp why she's fucking angry. Like,
yeah. What's not to mention?
I just hate his whole ass for trying to like, you know, like, well, my intentions were fucking good. It was like, no, bitch. And, like, it never got, like, I still think he should have got his ass whooped, like, in 2. Like, nobody, he never catch some fucking hands for that fucking shit. Like, nobody's, like, smacked that motherfucker for, like, hey, you did just try to kill our fucking sister, motherfucker.
But he also spends, like, every episode, in the first season, every episode, they're like, oh, you know, I have this trauma or whatever, and he's just like, Dad sent me to the moon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, chill, buddy. We all got our issues we're working on over here. What are you talking about?
Also, if anything, the moon is the fucking bottom of the list. You fucking made him part fucking monkey.
Right?
Like, that'd be the part I'd be pissed off about. Like, yeah. Dad decided to make him part monkey.
Yeah, let's cover the real shit.
Like, oh no, I was trapped alone in my fucking room. Cool, I've been trapped alone for 6 months. Fuck off. I have a fucking mood swing trying to kill my sister.
Yeah. You know, Umbrella Academy is its own weird thing because he spends half his time trying to kill one sister and the other half of the time go in the opposite direction with another sister. You just can't. There's no middle ground with Luther.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. It's like, yeah, like I get that they're adopted and all, but also like, y'all were adopted early on, so like it wasn't like you were adopted at like 13. So it was like, oh, cool, whatever. Like, no, y'all got adopted as baby. So where's that self-reflection on the fucking fact that like you tried to fuck your sister? As far as you know, like, hey, we grew up together. We're fucking brother and sister, and it's like, yeah, I don't look like you, but also I still want to fuck you.
It's the fact that he hides his browsing history from me.
We know what he's looking at.
Done with you. Get out.
It's a family-friendly stream, okay? That's the way I say it.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Luther clearly didn't aim for the head. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh yeah, but he also put a fucking Iron Man who created fucking Ultron because his ass decided like not to fucking talk with the rest of the fucking family. So it's like he's going for fucking Thor and fucking Iron Man at the same time. Like, I fucked up on 2 parts. Doesn't know how to finish. That's why his sister won't fuck him.
Now, I'll tell you somebody that I want to drag a little bit. Shit, I told you all about it yesterday.
Yes. Let's go.
All right, so one for me is Spider-Man.
Yes.
And it's not like a full-on drag, but man, just his trauma is dumb. Like, it's his early trauma makes sense, right? So Spider-Man's issue is or Peter Parker's issue is he was picked on. You know, he's a super relatable character. He was picked on, he's smart, he ends up with his powers, and he ends up like living this like male power fantasy where he's just like, I'm gonna be really strong and I'm gonna earn money, I'm gonna do these other things, you know, and then because of his inaction later where he just decides to be rude to somebody, you know, just to be petty, his uncle dies. And you're like, oh man, that's trauma. And he's like, I'm never gonna be this person again. You know? But where we have later, the reason that I drag him is because Spider-Man, despite having this trauma that drives him that says you have to be responsible, you know, great power, great responsibility, yada yada yada. A reason that I dislike part of his character is that there's a lot of hubris that goes into his character. He's very cocky under the mask, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to the multiple times that he was like offered like, oh, join with the Avengers, you know, we need you to be trained, you know, stuff like that, he doesn't take them up on it, right?
Yeah.
And the end result is that we end up with another woman in a fridge, right? Although this one is his fault, right?
Yeah.
Because now Sarah, I don't know if you're only going off the movies, but in the comics,
no, I'm No, I'm going off of comics and movies on this one.
All right. So for those of you guys that don't know, in chat, Spider-Man's fiance at the time, I think they were engaged, was captured by Green Goblin. Green Goblin captures Gwen Stacy and throws her off a bridge. And Spider-Man goes to catch her, and in his inexperience, he catches her inappropriately, and the whiplash snaps her neck, and she dies instantly. And it's a very formative moment for Spider-Man, because then he starts to realize that maybe he should be trained on how to properly save people. No STI, she's not okay. I'm sorry to tell you. She did not end up okay. And while that's something that is tragic and formative for him and has guided him moving forward, I don't think he needed that.
Yeah.
I disagree respectfully. I think that moment caused him to grow up, and it moves him forward into being a good superhero. I think all of his actions up to that point, I guess he was blind to his inexperience, and he needed that kind of kick in the head to grow. So I don't think he should be dragged for that. I think that's good character development.
I'm not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite things about. I would never change it. Okay, but I'm dragging him because he didn't recognize that inexperience that others saw in him and tried to warn him about. And as a person who had that opportunity to witness firsthand what irresponsibility gets you, right? He should have heeded those warnings. He should have joined the Avengers. He should have taken up being trained by Cap. You know?
Should have. Yeah, but
and he didn't.
But does that necessarily make him a bad superhero? I don't think so.
Spider-Man's one of my few examples of a good superhero. So I don't necessarily paint him badly for it. But that's why I say I'm not fully dragging him, but like it's one of those moments that so I absolutely loved reading that in Spider-Man. I absolutely loved the development that he's at afterwards, but I absolutely hate him for letting that happen. If that makes sense.
Well, of course though, but I mean, again, what's a superhero without more trauma? Unfortunately.
I mean,
don't go to therapy.
I mean,
I don't know, if therapy worked, we probably wouldn't be doing this podcast.
You gotta have that go to therapy though. That's
a low blow, Mikey.
Man, I swept all our legs with that one.
At me next time.
At Runetown in the comments. Oh my god.
I cry.
Oh no.
No, I don't know. I still disagree with you. I think it was necessary. I don't think she needed to die. I mean, I loved Gwen Stacy. I think that sucked. That was sucky writing, but I don't think Spider-Man deserves to be dragged for it. Because I mean, you could even argue too, like that was a total fucking accident. Like, you never know.
I mean, yeah, it was an accident. Okay, well now I have to ask, because anybody that tells me they love Gwen Stacy, I have to ask. Do you stan MJ and Pete?
The deep sigh.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't stand them. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I think she. This is solely coming from she's just another character who's a damsel in distress, and she really doesn't add anything to Peter Parker's story. And I think Gwen was a better fit.
Ooh, okay. In the 90s cartoon, he was terrible to her. That's what Portrayal says. Hi, Lawrence. How you doing? So... oh, man. So, here's... I think that MJ provided a very good emotional mirror for Peter. I think that in a lot of the writing, they wrote her to be someone to reflect off of. They didn't always make her a damsel in distress. In a lot of the comics that I read, she was very supportive. And I think that they did have some good dynamics in terms of what they were able to accomplish in some of their stories. I think that some of the fun-ish aspects of Peter Parker go away when he's a married guy. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
you know, he doesn't interact with Black Cat in the same way. You know what I mean?
Fair.
All right, who else we dragging today?
I mean, I only had Batman to drag, so.
You see, like,
play ultra wide. I offered to get him a chair. He does not want one, so we've all tried.
there is chairs, but I'm comfortable here, or I can sit on my bed and be out of frame, whatever. Actually, my bed does sound comfortable if I can't do anything. Like, I was listening to y'all drag fucking, you know, your Ant-Man, your Spider-Man. What about Star-Lord?
Oh, let's hear it, Sarah. Look at you.
I can't drag him. I like him, but I don't know why you want to drag him.
You don't know why we want to drag Star-Lord.
Going from the movies alone.
I know why you want to drag him, but I want to actually hear you say
Where
it.
was all that certified heat that you had against Batman? You're like, Star-Lord ain't do nothing wrong. Not my man's.
I turned the other way on that one. Only hate for Batman in my mind.
Star-Lord.
No, you're
Star-Lord,
right.
the man-child.
You're right.
Who can't make decisions, who can't function without making a joke, who can't actually like give up any semblance of leadership because it feels like he'll lose everything. Star-Lord who can't admit his feelings. Star-Lord who can't control his feelings. Star-Lord who could have prevented Endgame.
I'm wrong. You were right and I am wrong. We can drag away.
Can we stop dragging my man? Can we stop dragging my man? She's like, I just want him to press the button and put the mask on.
Oh, yeah, y'all are right.
Gigantor says Reed Richards. Oh, I can drag Reed.
Yes.
Fucking smartest man in the world, but can't figure out his emotions.
I mean, Mikey, just at yourself next time.
Damn! I thought we were being nice in this stream. What happened? I thought we were dragging the heroes, not each other.
I saw the opportunity and I had to take it. I'm so sorry.
Reed Richards, who is apparently the smartest man in the world but can't figure out how to save his best friend.
Yeah. Or he knew how, but chose like, you know what? I got other shit to do, like get my dick wet.
Reed Richards, whose favorite pastime is solving problems by creating new ones.
Yes. I mean, arguably Batman as well.
Lauren says, hey, nobody's perfect. They have to have flaws. Pretty big ones, too. A lot of them have really big flaws, I'm saying. That's why the whole thing is that we have these flawed heroes. But some of these heroes that we have, some non-male heroes, don't really have those flaws. And they're not Mary Sue's because of it either. Like, they have, there's heroes that just, like, exist without being, like, ex machinaing their way out of everything. You know what I mean? Part of it is also like, being, staying in their pond, that's not even the right way. Staying in their wheelhouse, Yeah,
whatever that phrase
Reed is the king of the swing. Oh my god, STI. I can't believe you.
You're a children present.
Oh my god.
Why?
So
it's a family-friendly channel.
Oh my god. All right, then we have if we're looking at heroes that don't have these flaws, right? Like I look at somebody like Wonder Woman, right? Like what are Wonder Woman's character flaws?
None really. Like some would say she's first men, but like, have you met men?
Like, her character flaw is she grew up sheltered because she lived on an island that was separated from the rest of the world, and her other character flaw is that she would rather kill somebody than have to deal with them coming back for vengeance. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, can you falter?
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Squirrel Girl.
Oh, okay.
I have not read it.
Terrible superhero choice.
Oh, okay.
Terrible superhero choice.
I'm just saying she doesn't have a lot of flaws. She's not walking around with the chip on her shoulder.
I'd say the new
superhero.
Do you want to drag Squirrel Girl? Is that
what's her sidekick? What's her sidekick? Monkey Joe or something like that?
I thought her sidekick was a squirrel.
We're talking. Okay. No, I thought it was like Monkey Joe or something like that.
It is Monkey Joe. Yeah.
I know.
See? I know things.
It's the name of the squirrel. Okay.
Miss Marvel's fucking solid. Marvel don't got no flaws. You talking
about Kamala?
Yeah, Kamala.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like a fucking teen stuck with her fucking parents who like are trying to be super controlling, but like that's not like her whole like thing of like, oh no, my parents are fucking annoying bossy motherfuckers who want me to be proper and shit. Like she goes out and does her fucking shit.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think that just go ahead.
No, you go. Because like that was it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, those I guess character flaws are proof that you don't need significant trauma to be a good superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think part of the problem is that you have, like, when it comes to male superheroes and they don't have trauma, everybody just starts immediately comparing them to Cap. And I think that's, they're like, oh, what is he, Captain America? Nothing's ever wrong in his life? And it's like, no, it doesn't need to be that way.
Ooh, I got something I want to drag.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Professor X.
Oh my god, he's the worst.
I'm surprised it took us this long to get there.
Go for it.
I think I didn't want to make fun of a handicapped man at first. You know what I mean? Like, you can't make fun of the handyman, person in a wheelchair at first go. We got, it's like, save him for last. Motherfucker fucking up people's childhoods and shit.
The motherfucker erasing people's childhoods and shit.
Because I'm going, like, based off of, just the fucking movies and shit, because the only real in-depth thing I read on fucking Professor X is the new House of X. And so it's a whole new retelling of the shit. Mm-hmm. And so, like, from, like, the movies alone, like, you just a manipulative little bitch who's, like, wants to fucking, like, suck up to Massive and, like, hope they be nice to you and shit. But, like, also, you're not far from, like, Magneto is shown as being, like, a complete fucking asshole. But it's like, at least he's honest about it. Mm-hmm. Like, fucking, like, no different than fucking Magneto. Super manipulative, trying to fucking use people for your own gains, but, like, you're trying to put a smile on your back.
Yo, what is it?
I'm kind of buying funds.
So, first of all, STI, don't ask about his OnlyFans unless you're gonna sub for his OnlyFans. Like, we're gonna drop that link if you're out here with this, but also family friendly.
What?
All right, so Xavier deserves all the dragging. Okay, like even beyond the movies, he is a complete shit show of a person.
Yeah.
I think if you go into the fact where he just manipulated the minds of some of his students, you can argue whether or not it was the best route to go when it comes to like protecting Jean. I think one of the things that is hard to argue is what he did with the second X-Men team. That shit was great.
What do you do with the second X-Men team?
Okay. So back in the day, there was a time where Xavier created a second X-Men team to save the first team of X-Men. They went to an island. I think it was like it was the Living Island. The name escapes me. X-Men was Krakoa. Krakoa, the Living Island. That island captured the original X-Men. So we're talking like Beast, Jean Grey, Cyclops. All of them got captured. So he creates a second team, which we all thought was like Wolverine and Storm and the other ones to go rescue them. Turns out that was not the case. Right? He actually sent a whole other team of X-Men first, and they all died.
Yeah.
And when one of them was Cyclops' brother. And when Cyclops is freaking out, like, my brother's dead, blah, blah, he's like, nah. And he just erased that entire team from everyone's memories. It wasn't even his team. It was Moira McTaggart's team, who wasn't training them to fight. She was just training them to live. And then he's like, they're gone. And then he's like, time to send a second team, because this isn't my third attempt. Fuck that guy.
Forgot about that, yeah. I was thinking like when he fucking with Wolverine in the movies, he was just like, yo, I have all these answers. I have all the answers to your questions. But instead of giving you the fucking answers, I'm just gonna fucking like draw you a line, so you can just fucking do all this shit. Train my children to be fucking badass fighters for the upcoming war that I don't want to have.
So there's so much, man. There's so much. I hate Professor X. The other reason too is like he's Magneto, but pretends he's good.
Yes.
Because he's still raising an army. He's still training them to fight wars, right? He's just pretending to be good with the people.
Exactly. He's like, he wants the humans to like him, and it's just like, I will sacrifice you guys so they like me. And it's like, well,
the truth is, all that stuff just leads to a breaking point, right? Because it's like, is there a point where he's gonna say that enough's enough, and I've tried everything, and if you won't take peace, like, I will take justice.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, well, that, you know, what do you do if you were human and you have these like people that are raising an army of super powered people? Like, of course you'd fear it. You're like, what are they doing over there? It's like, no, it's just a school. And it's like, you have a blackbird. What do you mean you're just a school?
Well, my thing is not even so much that. It's like when they fucking like originally the reason they fucking formed it, like cool, you can do your own fucking thing, but it also is like he like has all this fucking money. He could at least like have a publicist that they say, hey yo, we're trying to do our fucking shit. Like, hey, we're trying to fucking like be nice. We're fucking helping on our fucking regular fucking basis. He doesn't even try to fucking like. It's everything is just like he just throws his children under the fucking bus every time chance he gets. It's just like, I'm sorry that we hurt y'all feelings, humans. Like, no, y'all started the fucking fight, but like, you know, just throw us under the bus every chance you get.
All right, so let's ask ourselves a related question to the topic at hand. That's probably gonna get chat mad at us. All right. Because it sounds like we all hate Professor X, right? So, but he may not be this. Who is your least favorite X-Man? And then who is your favorite X-Man?
Start with me.
My favorite is Wolverine.
Okay.
Don't start with me. Okay. Like, you were ready.
All right, you, Sarah. Who's your favorite?
No. I said don't start with me because I have to think on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, my favorite is Wolverine. My least favorite, Gail Simone would like this one. Cyclops.
Gail Simone is gonna love you for that. Like, yo, tell us about Cyclops' heat vision. Oh my god. Alright, so my least favorite X-Man is probably Jubilee.
Jubilee?
Yeah. Fucking Sparky McSparky face. Like, out here, she's just like, light show. Fucking spirit fingers the villains, and it's just like, yeah, this is what I got, you know? And like, they're just like, it's bright. That's all she does. And then my favorite X-Man is probably X-Man, Nate Gray.
That obscure motherfucker that nobody knows?
I mean, he existed in both non-canon and canon. I don't... What do you want from me, man? He's super OP and he's cool as fuck. He's Cyclops and Jean Grey's son, has like ridiculous cool powers, and is really cool. He's Cable without being like, I'm Cable and I'm old. Because I hate Cable. He's just like, I'm old and I can't use my powers that well because I have a he has a techno disease. Some stupid shit. Like, he can't use his powers because his powers are keeping his disease in check. What kind of shit? How are you the most powerful person and you can't use it because you're like, if I do the thing, I'm gonna turn into Strife. Look at Strife, who is just evil me from another timeline. Like, fuck this guy. STI says Jubilee is just low budget solar flare.
Oh God.
All right, Sarah, are you ready?
I mean, I guess.
If you need another minute, we can drag other X-Men.
No. Okay, so favorite Wolverine. I fucking love Wolverine. Who doesn't? Least favorite X-Men. Can I say Bailey Oskin?
Who?
He just explodes and he's dead and it's over with. Like, I don't like him.
Who?
What
was his name?
Let me hold on. Let me just fact check myself here. Let me fact check myself.
I like how I said a name.
Bailey Hoskins.
Who is Bailey Hoskins?
I don't know. I never heard of that one.
Newer. So Xavier School of Gifted Youngsters. So he's from that. So not like true OG X-Men.
Okay.
But I'm still counting it.
How does he discover that he has a power that if he can't use it because he'll die?
Again, poor writing. This is one of those things where it was a conversation I was having with my dad actually, and he was like, "Oh, you know, I was looking up this new comic, and we were just on a random ass X-Men tangent, and he was telling me about this. He was like, yeah, you know, there's this new kid who is in high school. He's being bullied, and he found out that he's actually a mutant and then he was sent to obviously the School of Gifted Kids, and I don't remember. I the reason why I hate him is just because it sounds so stupid. Like, other than baseless. I know nothing about this guy other than if he explodes, he dies, and I just think that's stupid.
Solid reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he? Jesus. I like how Darnel called me out for picking an obscure character, and you're just like Bailey Hoskins,
and then I go
Ooh.
more obscure. I know.
All right.
I know.
STI says Juggernaut's
I
his
go
favorite.
for the. I don't know. I go for the really obscure shit.
I mean, that's interesting. Man, I would not have expected.
That's his code name. Exceptional.
Exceptional.
That's his code name. I could not remember it because it's
bad.
stupid, and I think that's what I thought. Exceptionally horrible, and I'm not going to remember this.
Yeah. Juggernaut equals gains, all for the gains. That's why you like Juggernaut, STI? I mean, all for it, man. But STI, Juggernaut is not a mutant. Just an FYI. I'm out here actually.
Oh, you know why this is gonna go under this too. So Jubilee was the one that took him under his wing. That's why he's so bad too.
Oh my god. That, you know what? That makes sense. I'll take that. Jubilee's bad. You know who was like Jubilee but not terrible? Boomer. Or Boom Boom.
What the fuck is Boom Boom?
Somebody who had
wrong.
A very similar power set to Jubilee, except the lights she made fucking exploded. She created tiny little fire bombs. She was murdered, so she's dead, but
She okay?
she's not okay. Name of Tabitha Smith. And she would just create little fire bombs and blow them up. And it's just like similar power set. Little lights, she throws them at people and they're like, ah, it's bright. But after they say that, they blow up. Infinitely better. Let's see. Gigantor says this Sitserac gives him his powers. That is absolutely correct. The gem of Sitserac, and Sitserac is his god, actually. He had to ask for that power, and then he is the envoy of Sitserac until I think he loses it in Fear itself, and then Colossus becomes a new Juggernaut.
Yes.
Yeah. Runetown, you get STI's humor apparently.
I do. I love that dark humor. It's so good. Live for it.
All right, and any remaining heroes for us to drag?
None that I can think of. I think I touched on the ones I could randomly think of that were like lingering in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I think we've successfully dragged everyone.
Yeah, I've dragged the ones I wanted to drag. Like you could drag more, but you know.
And then I feel like it's turning into a drag fest rather than
explaining
talking about
the flaws and
yeah.
Well, that's what talking about flaws are. It's a drag fest, and since they're they're in that, like, they're not real. They kind of can't respond back. It's like, yeah, cool, you're bitches. But like, if the writers ever want to come at us, come at me.
Hey, just go ahead and let me know if Batman's utility belt has any fire extinguishers, because like he got all that smoke from Sarah, according to STI.
I'll do it again.
Bop, bop, bop. I can't
be quoting TikTok on here.
No. Look, I gotta say, like, I do love, a good conversation where we can like examine the flaws and have fun and talk about some of the stuff. And it goes into like, as we're wrapping up here and talking about some of the last things, it's not necessarily about dragging all of them, but it is about examining like what we deem as like acceptable. We have people that we throw up as heroes, but they're kind of shitty in some ways. Lawrence says he's out. Have a good night, Lawrence. Part of this goes into one of the examples of someone who's too easy to drag is Punisher. And we look at somebody who is someone who shouldn't be idolized, a clear example of someone who shouldn't be idolized but still is for some reason.
But like, at least he even owns it. They're like, yo, if you like me, you're a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things of like, you have these heroes who we tout as perfect. Batman's far from it. Don't get Sarah started. But we go into examining some of them because maybe we can have the writing be better in the future if we point it out. I think it's a good thing for fans to look at some of that and criticize it, and not really necessarily disrespectfully, although we did spend some time dragging them, but look at ways that we can have writing be better. One of our favorite things that we throw around to each other is us saying do better. So we push that back onto different media that we criticize, and I think it's a good thing for us to do that. Not necessarily being negative, but do better.
Yeah. Grow a personality, bitch.
Yeah.
So, any other final thoughts, guys?
I feel like superheroes nowadays, you reach into the bag of trauma, pull out one, and then there's your modern day superhero. And I really want to get away from that. I just want to echo what you said on the do better. There's so many people out there that, while they do have character flaws, they are extraordinary superheroes, and it's proof that you don't need to be Batman in order to be a good superhero. And God, I hate Batman. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Like Sarah said, like, you know, you can be a decent people, because I just looked down and realized that I had a rescue comic on the floor, and I'm like, hey, a woman superhero who's like has no real trauma on why she wanted to become a superhero, and she became just a decent person, and it's not what really drives her. She just like, hey, I can help change the world because I have access to these means, and I'm going to do it and be a good person. It's not like some fucking horrible tragedy that fucking threw her into the fucking motivator. It's just like, hey, I'm just like trying to be a good person. Bad things happen to me, but I was already doing good things along the way.
Yeah.
There's more women comics.
I agree with all of that. I think that, you know, it's important. But I think that's a great place to end it on, is, you know, do better and be better, and, you know, be more inclusive. So with that being said, we're going to start wrapping this up. For all of you guys that were watching, thank you so much for watching. If you're not following already, please help us hit our next follower goal. We just passed 100 followers, and we're looking to get up to 150. That's our next goal, and we're going to do something fun when that comes out. We're also looking at a subscriber goal. We're trying to get 15 subscribers so that we can unlock more of the emotes that we've been designing on a regular basis. So, you know, if you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free to subscribe. And we'll be able to put more little emotes out, you know, like the angry Mikie noises, or the robots that we've designed, or even some of our evil teddy bears.
We get 150, I'll sit in a chair.
And Darnel will get a chair.
250, and I'll say something nice about Batman.
Oh my god. But you know, we're out here just providing content, so if you like it, please consider following. And we will see you next time on Nerds in the Dark. I was Mikie.
Darnel.
Sarah.
And thank you so much.